Hello and welcome to episode 54 of the Car Podcast with Chris Harris and friends. It's lovely to have you along. We've got much to discuss. We're going to start with... We're going to start with something that Ferrari calls, I do believe, hedging its bets, the 849, in the hope that we don't also call it the Testarossa. The 849 Testarossa. Now, something of a punch-up has been brewing on the WhatsApp group between us all. Manish has strong views on this car, and I think they might be countered by someone else within the group. So I'm going to start with Chris Cooper.
Why is it called 849?
8 cylinders, 490cc pot.
Yeah, you can tell I've been captivated by this story. Not.
Yes.
I mean, I'm never going to own one of these because it's just another silly Ferrari. And what was it? The SF90.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this is another go at the SF90. I mean, what is it? I mean, I suppose my main... It could be, Chris, we were all a bit rude about the F80 when it first came out. I instantly and instinctively, when I see this thing, I don't react to it the way I did to the F80, which was when I see the Lego version of that, I'm going to prefer the Lego version. I didn't react about this Testarossa thing that way. But I still don't really see, well, where does it fit? It's not an F80 and it's not a 290. So what is it? I mean, the objective side of my brain says they've got to sell more stuff. The SF90's done its bit. It's never going to sell any more of those, whatever version you make of it. So they're going to have to sell something else. It's called Testarossa. It's sort of, if I cared enough about it, I would say it feels like they've misappropriated a Ferrari model name that means lots of things to lots of people. And this doesn't really feel like, the right... Is it their Ford Capri moment? I mean, they'd be appalled to hear themselves associated with Essex's finest. But it feels like a bit of a Ford Capri moment, doesn't it, really? What do I think about how it looks? I mean, nobody needs me, who shops at Fat Face and, other similar establishments. No one needs someone like me to give them advice about what stuff looks like. Clothes cover my body. I feel differently about cars, granted, but, I sort of think it looks...
It's quite a body.
It's got those funny duckbill platypus sort of things at the nose, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The little sort of platypi wingy things. I don't feel... I've a feeling Neil and Manish are going to feel really strongly about this. I suspect negatively. I don't feel... Maybe I feel differently because I don't feel... Maybe not feeling strongly about it at all is the worst thing to feel. But I don't feel strongly about it either way. Because I'll never afford one. And if I aspired to a super duper Ferrari, it probably wouldn't be that one. But I get why they've done it. They've got to shift more tin. It just feels like they phoned it in, really, doesn't it?
Before the two jostlers who are jostling beneath me on my screen get to jostle, I'm going to add a bit here. So, never ever judge what might be shocking styling the day you first see it. You never know. You got to think longer term. I was in the presence of a 612 Scaglietti yesterday, a car that when it was launched was far more controversial than this. People thought Ferrari had absolutely lost their shit when they saw the 612 Scaglietti, which has aged beautifully. It's an elegant design now and sits perfectly in the canon of Ferrari design. What do people think of the first 365 GT4 when they saw it, the first Pininfarina square rig thing that came after the GTC? They would have just thought that Ferrari completely lost it. So I don't think now is the right time necessarily to act all offended by it. It's punchy. It's definitely a punchy piece of work. But they needed to do something. Ferrari's an Italian supercar maker. They should shock us now and again. This should not a bowl of comfort food. It should not, and nor should any Ferrari be. So I actually respect all of that. I only have one problem with it. Testarossa to an entire generation of people means strakes down the side. Where are the fucking strakes? Okay, Testarossa has got to have strakes down the side. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about the funny double beak and all the other stuff. But there are no strakes down the side of it, so it ain't a Testarossa for me. It's an 849. Now, I'll hand over to Manish is chomping at the bit, so I'm going straight to Neil Clifford.
Brilliant. It's a brilliant discussion. This. We only need one topic this week. It could be an hour and 25 minutes. You know what? I don't love it, but I thought really hard about this because it is. And Chris, you touched on a point. It's hard to judge things immediately. This is a car company. This is a brand. This is a business that is one of the most successful, if not the most successful companies that's basically ever existed outside of digital, outside of Apple, Google, Microsoft. You know, they IPO'd 10 years ago at $10 billion, I think, something like that. The company's now worth $85 billion. They only sell 15,000 cars. That's the amount of cars that Land Rover haven't made in the last 3 weeks or something. Do you know what I mean? They make about 70,000, 80,000 pounds a car. So this is a genius business. And to therefore bet against them, to accuse them of being stupid or accuse them of making poor judgment, I think is risky. It's like saying, oh, you know, Apple, it's all over. Nokia are coming back. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a tough bet because this is a genius business, probably, if not the most strongest brand in the world. It's definitely top 3. So, and so therefore I thought about that. I can't, you know, because I don't love the idea of the Testarossa thing. For me, Testarossa should have 12 cylinders. To me, it should have the side drakes. It should have, maybe it's got a red head on its engine. I think it's better looking than SF90.
Yeah, it is.
I think
I agree with that.
it's got elements of SP3.
Yeah,
It's
I thought
got
that.
elements of 12 cylindry and F80, which actually you see a 12 cylindry in the flesh. It's fucking, it looks great, actually. Even though I was a bit cynical about that Daytona front, actually it looks really bloody good. And therefore, when you start concluding this, I think Ferrari, you just have to conclude, in my view, that they're geniuses at creating and designing cars for the appropriate generation of which the car is launched. And I think they don't really give a shit about me anymore because I'm 58. I'm old. Their radar, their laser radar about where their consumer is stays in the sweet spot where the money is so cleverly. It's why Jaguar fucked up, because they followed everyone to the cemetery. And I think Ferrari, the more you think about it, because I asked my son, and he's like, "Dad, have you seen that new Ferrari? It looks fantastic." So I think they're much smarter than we give them credit for. I would question the Testarossa name, but maybe that's just marketing. Maybe we're all old farts. I mean, if you had a Daytona new, right? So you're now 80 years old, and you went and wrote a check in 71 for a beautiful Daytona, and you picked it up from Egham, and you know you had red trousers on or whatever you were at that point. I bet you when that 288 GTO came out, you went, oh, what a fucking disaster. What have they done to Ferrari?
Yeah.
So I think it's very dangerous for us to sort of judge things in the context of where we are in our life. Because Ferrari have moved on. Every 10 years or every model, they are talking to the 30-year-olds now with that
Is
car.
it just what you're saying? Because I don't disagree with anything you said. Is your description there because you think people are reacting to it because of the way that it looks?
I think it's all about looks. Is the the internet chatter. I mean, go
Yeah.
on to the
I think it
Ferrari,
looks fine.
go on to the Ferrari Instagram. I mean, or Top Gear Instagram, or go. There's a lot of chatter, mainly 80% negative.
About how it looks.
Yeah, about how it looks. I actually think. I mean, look, there's not. You can't even put a fucking sandwich box in the car, right? There's no luggage space whatsoever. So even if you want to take your sandwiches to work, you've got to have a trailer. So there's some sort of practical issues with that car. And I also think you can debate what's the difference between, do you really going to spend 600 grand on that? Why not get a 296? But, it is a V8. And if you've got loads of money and it's going to be rarer and it's going to open you, it's going to give you a Willy Wonka badge to get the next, Icona car. So there's all 15,000 cars and they make $1.2 billion. This is a machine of absolute genius. So for us to instinctively say, "Oh, I don't really like it because I wish it looked like a LaFerrari," that's fucking 10 years ago. They're talking
I
to
don't think anybody's
30-year-olds.
saying that. I hear what Manish says, but I don't. I think it.
Let's
No, I'm not prejudging. I'm not prejudging, Manish. Manish, over to you.
I just think that's a load of nonsense, Neil. I really do. I am judging the car. I'm not 30. If you want to get 30-year-old onto the podcast to talk about how brilliant it is, we can do that. The bottom line is, if you read My Terrible Joys, which Enzo Ferrari wrote, I think the demographics of Ferrari ownership may have shifted a little bit, but he said, the typical man who buys my car is a 50-year-old who has sold his company and wants to feel young again. I think that's a direct quote. And I have a feeling, unless
that's been Martin now, that's not Ferrari.
Maybe, but Jaguar, maybe Jaguar, what they were feeling was that there is this breed of 30-year-old tech wizard that they're going to build cars for. I'm not one of those. I'm not going to judge it as if I was sort of, as if I was, what's his name? Mr. Google. What is his name? I'm having a phasic moment.
There's plenty of Mr. Googles.
Yeah, but I'm not going to judge it like a tech wizard. I mean, I'm in my 50s. I'm looking at it. There's basically been a direct line, as far as I can see, aesthetically, between the kind of 296, the 12-cylinder, the F80, and now the Testarossa. They've decided to go for the sort of black roof, red or whatever, a colored body. They've decided to go with this funny Cylon stripe at the top. They've decided to integrate this. I mean, on the 12-cylinder, that kind of very strange reverse T black wedge at the back. I think this has got sort of slightly odd elements of the 250 LM, which a 296 has. It's got very straight vertical air intakes. They've decided what's black, what's red. I think it's a mess. I think it's a styling mess. And I think there's a very subtle difference, actually, between, I once talked about it, the 458. A lot of people didn't absolutely love that at the beginning because it made you feel tense. There were lots of lines in it that were unresolved. This is, for me, it's just a really, really, it's a style pudding. And it is their new statement. And you may well be right. As a genius business, they may know exactly the kind of person who wants to buy this car. But it isn't me, and it will never be me. And it's funny.
That's my point, really. I don't disagree with you on a lot of the styling comments, be it that I think it actually looks a lot better than SF90.
Yeah,
my point is it's not designed for us. It's designed for a new consumer that they're smart enough to know.
And this is, but surely the question isn't sort of like, I mean, for me anyway, it's discuss the car, not
yes,
a brand or what the strategy is. And maybe they've got it exactly right. I don't know, but it's a really problematical car, and I've just found more modern Ferraris less and less attractive. And I watched Chris's video on the F80, and it didn't convert me to its aesthetics, but I think Chris made a very valid point, which was that seemed to be, this idea that you can hybridize a racing car and kind of just about make it work for the road. Chris's big point in that was when he drove it around town, he just thought, Jesus, this car drives really well around town. There's no compromise here. And then you stuck it on the circuit at Mugello, and there was certainly no compromise there. So I totally get it. But I think Ferraris, for 99.9% of us who can't get anywhere near and will never, ever get anywhere near the limit, of effectively 1,000 horsepower road car, it's all about how they look. It's all about how they look, and
Yeah, it is.
that's
Yeah.
just. I think that is a very, very problematical design, and I think it comes after two other very problematical designs. I think the 296, has it grown on me? It's grown on me maybe a little bit, but they're making some really clear points on this, especially that black stripe, the black roof, and some, and the backs of these cars. They're making some big points and saying, this is a Ferrari. And that's, I'm 58, I'm not 28, I'm not 38, and I'm not 48.
Yeah.
But I don't see me ever buying a car like that. It just, someone said it to me in Milan this week. They said, the thing about Ferrari is they seem to be looking at Lamborghinis when they design them. And I think the point, he wasn't being complimentary. He was pointing out that, when they did the JD Power survey or whatever, they said that for under 30-year-olds, the Lamborghini was the car. That's what they said. I think it was 5 years ago they did a study, and it was the popular car for the under 30s. It was a Lamborghini, not a Ferrari. Maybe Ferrari have been swayed by that. And you're probably right. They've got more idea of their demographics, the people they sell to, and what their people want. But I'm just looking at it. I think it's a mess. Sorry.
We're gonna park the 849 Testarossa there just for a while. Just let things cool down a bit. Actually,
No, I think it's a great debate. It's a great debate. Because I'm not saying I love the car. I'm saying it's not aimed at me.
I think you need to spot my sarcasm.
No, I obviously I did, but
I think it's a good question. It's a good question from Mr. Cooper. I often think, I sit back and think to myself, this is a £500,000 car basic. It's probably 650,000 by the time you get it on the road, because the 12 cylinder I drove last week was 530 on the road sterling.
Wow.
In the UK, the sales of those cars have collapsed. So this 15,000 figure, I'm starting to worry about for them going forwards, because I think there's a lot of markets that are really struggling. But I bet you if we all got on a plane now, went to Dubai Mall, we would see lots of people in their 30s getting into cars of this type. So I think it's Middle East and California, America, that is the driving force of sales for these cars now, and that's whichever part of the demographic in those two locations they can sell to is where they're going to go. China is meaningless to them now. It's about the Middle East and it's about America. North America. That's it. It's my answer to that question.
Are you suggesting, Chris, that actually Ferrari's acting like a business?
I think they know what they're doing, and I also think there's the one aspect of this we've not talked about. I think is that quietly Ferrari has completely and utterly altered the model life cycle hegemony. It's taken that and just thrown it in the bin. A 355 was on sale for what, 6 years?
Yes.
The 430 was on sale for God knows how many years.
And
They had long lifespans, sports cars. Now, a sports car might be on sale for 3 years if it's Ferrari, but really it's on sale for 18 months. After 18 months, if you'd ordered an SF90 and walked in to try and buy one, they're probably going to struggle to make you one. And I think this is where that Ferrari is incredibly clever.
Genius.
It's a big gamble. They might come unstuck. But the gamble is, yes, we might look like we're devaluing your brand. We might look like we're making too many cars, but we stopped making it. By the time we were all saying they're not going to sell this SF90, they stopped selling it anyway.
Yeah, it's a good business model.
It's very clever.
I think they're genius. They're genius.
Yeah. And does it? I agree with Manish on one thing. The difficulty here is making cars that instantly look like Ferraris. So for me, the only failure really in the current model lineup is the Roma, which has never looked like a Ferrari to me. But the others sort of do. I'd probably go, that's a Ferrari. I think if I stuck a photo of that under a friend's nose who didn't know what much about cars, they'd go, it's probably Ferrari, isn't it? So, yeah, there's a lot to be said for it.
It's quite SP. It is quite SP3-ish.
It's quite SP3.
Under the heading of what is not a Ferrari, the other weekend when I sort of toured around the supercar Emporia in Hatfield, there was a Ferrari Portofino in front of the dealership. That is nothing like what a Ferrari looks like. And while that is still somewhere in your canon of work in recent memory, you can do a lot of stuff and still think, no, you look like a Ferrari. That looks like some sort of horrible bastard, something that Chevrolet would have dismissed us and do that. Even we couldn't do that. So no, I think
Can I say something really harsh about the Portofino? Now you've made
Go
me
on.
realise. Do you know occasionally you'd see people that had done a tuner car on a Mercedes SL, and you'd look underneath and you'd go, "I can't stop seeing the SL in the shape of the windscreen and where it meets the door." The Portofino's got that sort of. It just looks like someone's modified another car.
it does, doesn't it?
Anyhow, I think all I'll say is, I wish it had side strakes. I know the SP3 has side strakes. The irony is the Daytona's got strakes and the Testarossa hasn't. That is a bit mixed up for me.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
I think nomenclature matters. There's another T-shirt design. Let's move on. What we've done in cars this week, quite a lot, it turns out, for everyone. Neil Clifford, you can start. You've done an awful lot in cars this week.
I have. I don't know when the week starts. We separately went to a really lovely event in Italy end of last week called Toto Bene, which was this, I'm going to Cop Hill this weekend in Buckinghamshire, a hill climb where it's fundamentally amazing old blokes with dirty fingernails and beards eating pies. And it's brilliant. And this is completely the opposite end of the scale from a hill climb perspective, because it's just all beautiful and Italian and wonderful and stylish. So I was there for 24 hours, saw Mr. Harris, had a lovely dinner in a garden and lots of splendid things. And then I went to Revival. I went to Revival for 2 days, Saturday, Sunday. And of course, I'm going to say it's brilliant because my wife came with me Saturday, bless her, and it was muddy and it was raining and there was drama and I got stuck in the mud trying to get out, and there was four seasons.
Sorry, can you just tell us which car you're in when you got stuck in the mud, please?
It was a Rolls-Royce Phantom 7.
Ideal car for the conditions, I would have said.
No.
But you know what? Use them or lose them. And bless my wife, because I adore her, and she's like, "Darling, I don't want to come every year because it's always the same." And I'm like, "Well, that is the fucking
That's
point.
why I go.
That's why I go, because it's always great, and there's always Spitfires in the air, and there's everyone dressed up, and there's amazing cars and beautiful people driving, and lots of proper racing, and Lord March does a fabulous job, and it's all great." So I had 2 days at Revival, and then I had a flat battery in my BMW today and spent about a whole 3 hours at work trying to figure out how to get it started. So I've done lots of things, and it's all been bloody wonderful.
Let me pad out a bit of that. So Neil had a 599 in Italy, which is you might have seen a couple of photos of it. That reminded me that how great a value car that is. I tell you what, we talk about the new Ferraris and the price point they've reached. It just means that I'm constantly looking at the value proposition of used cars, like a V12 front-engine Ferrari. It's effectively a detuned Enzo engine sitting in the front of a really pretty Pininfarina body, and you can pick these things up for what, £85,000. I know it's a lot of money, but really, and maybe if I can link these two parts of the podcast together, if someone turns up outside a restaurant in the new 849 Testarossa, and then you turn up in Neil's Posy Blue 599, I think you're getting even more value from the way people will respond to you, because I think whatever we say about the new car, Neil's car is beautiful, really, really beautiful, in a beautiful colour. And I just came away, I always do, I came away frantically on Auto Trader looking at 599s that I can't buy. You know a car's touched your soul when you spend the next day looking at them on Auto Trader, don't you? Maybe that's the denominator. So that's the filling in bit for Tuta Benny. This 599 is just stunning.
Yeah,
it's a Southport as well.
Because it was designed for us.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Also, we got in it, and the first thing it did was have a full electrical fault on the dashboard.
It did.
It was brilliant. Neil's gone,
loves you.
They all do that. And sure enough, we stopped it, had a coffee, started again, all cleared.
Gone.
What year was What year was the 599? Can you remember?
07 it started.
07. So it's
06,
20
07.
years
Yeah.
ago. So I'd have been in my late 30s. So
Yeah.
I'd have been in exactly the same sort of year that you're accusing people
Yeah.
of 849s
Yeah.
of
You
buying.
see?
I don't know. One's
go. That's
beautiful, one's ugly. That's
No,
it.
but that was because you think differently about your
No,
taste.
when I was
has changed.
38, I thought it was beautiful. I'm 58. I still
Taste
think it's
has
beautiful.
changed. I mean, if I still design shoes the same as what people loved 30 years ago, I'd be bust.
Neil, are you trying to say that shoes have changed in the last? I'm still
No,
buying
Bob
shoes
Broke
30
would
years
say
ago.
exactly the same in 40 years, Neil.
Maybe
Right,
they-
we're all, right. Stop. We're all treading on each other really
Sorry,
badly now.
sorry,
I apologise to the audience.
sorry.
Shut the fuck up unless someone else has stopped talking. This is terrible behaviour. I don't often have to step in as the school teacher, but that's official naughty step to all of you, including me. Official naughty step. All right. Right. Okay. I want to hear what Chris Cooper's done in cars this week.
So I didn't go to the revival. I went instead on Sunday to a lovely, gentle event that chum of ours, Will Pembroke, Pembroke, runs in his lovely home down in the village of Wilton near Salisbury. And once a month in the summer, he opens the doors and gates to his extraordinary family home and just gets people with nice cars, whatever they are, could be anything, could be an MG Midget, could be a 959, could be anything. And they park up around his sort of garden and the driveway and bit outside, and all kinds of people wander around, just look at them. And I went down with Finley, and we met a few people there we knew, and we had a lovely time. We'll put some photographs on here of the stuff that we saw. It's very gentle, and it's all in a good cause. The Stars Appeal charity that Will supports and the Rotary Club in Will. It's all very lovely. It's once a month. It was quite chilly, but still. So it was a very, very nice event. And what Will does there is really, really amazing. He's an extraordinary enthusiast for the car. He's like us, really. He's just a big kid when it comes to stuff he's seen that he wants to buy and talking about modifying stuff. And yeah, it's all that. So the last one for this year has happened, but from April onwards, I think April, May onwards, go next year and support that wonderful charity.
was Robert Denton there?
Robert was there on the Sunday, and there was a chap who parked next to me. I put a photograph up on this actually when we put this on YouTube. He had the most stunning 2004 Toyota MR2. So that is the one, the very little diddy one with the mid/rear engine in it. It was 2004, so 21 years old. The paintwork was stunning. It looked absolutely wonderful, and I thought, crikey, for a little car that old, it just looked really stunning. I thought, I really like the idea of such a little car down in Cornwall or anywhere else. So yeah, so it was great to see stuff. It provoked you to think about cars like this. This chap said it's his wife's car, but actually it could have been anybody's car. I'd have loved to have that. So that was right. I've got one other thing I need to talk about that I've done being in cars this week. So last week we talked about how do we keep driving happy, and I felt and I spoke and I feel very strongly about this, that please, thank you, and sorry are the three words we should all have. We should all have at our fingertips when we're driving a car. I kind of need to use this as a bit of a confessional, really. I've used some other words this week on occasion when I've been in the car, and I feel a bit sad. I tried to write them down, but it would mostly be bleeps. I'm afraid I've weakened on occasion this week when I've been in the car, and I might have cussed and cursed on one or two occasions. And it made me think, actually, that keeping driving happy and spreading happiness, it's something we've got to think about the whole time. It won't just happen once. You've got to think about it. And I tooted somebody this week because they sort of pulled out in front of me on the motorway without indicating.
The horn.
I did toot the horn thing.
Did you?
I did toot the horn.
I very rarely do that.
I think it was absolutely in line of the provisions of the highway code to sort of, no, it wasn't like that. No, I've been with you in the car, Chris. We won't talk about that. I was warning and I was advising another road user of my presence, Ossifer. But I did think, I felt bad immediately afterwards. So I thought we should run like a little sort of Father Ted confessional in here
Yes.
every time we need it, about when we've done something, that wasn't really, I was going to say it wasn't really Christian motoring, but other faith-based approaches to the car are available as well. They're all valid. So what I've done in cars this week, most importantly, is recognize that please, thank you, and sorry are really important. And we're all busy and trying to get too many places and too early and blah, blah, blah. But so the person I tooted, sorry.
What did they do?
It was on the M40 and they pulled into the middle lane in front of me without any indication or pre-warning, and it was very, very close. There was a car outside me, so I had to brake quite hard not to go into the back of them.
Yeah.
So they made a mistake, and I reacted I tooted the horn as they were doing it, sort of partly to warn them, but partly, if I'm brutally honest, out of slight irritation. And I think I now realize that was wrong. So sorry to that person.
To admit you're wrong.
Yeah, I think we've got to do that. Keep driving happy.
The Ferrari.
It's interesting. I'd like to point out personally that I will not be using this forum as some kind of moral sheep dip, because frankly, to delouse me will take fucking hours.
Yeah, you've got quite a backlog of stuff to get through. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. I'm only going down. I'm going downstairs once this mortal coil has been shuffled off. So, Manish, what would you like to talk about? What have you done this week?
Well, we opened the film in Milan, which was just the most wonderful kind of end of, I think, almost 3 years' work, finally having a public screening. There's a film festival called Visione dal Mondo, very small, very chic, and it takes place in a place called Palazzo Lita in Milan, a lovely little palazzo which has its own opera house. So what they then do is they rig up a rather beautiful cinema screen and project. And it's 180 people. And there are two lovely moments that I can think of. I was a little bit late, actually, and I was walking to the palazzo from the hotel, and I bumped into Pino Levi, the great legendary reporter who was very good friends back in the day with Enzo Ferrari himself. I guess Pino must be in his 80s now, I guess. And it was, and typical me, I said, "Oh, Pino, what are you doing here?" And he said, "I'm coming to see your film," which I thought was really rather wonderful. And before this, you have, it was supposed to be an hour of drinks and canapes. And then Luca arrived, and he looked rather splendid, as he always does. And he was supposed to do 30 minutes of press in front of that. I always forget the name. What's a screen called? Where you have all the sponsors and they stand and they do interviews and photos. The stop and go or whatever they call it, something like that.
Bullshit boards?
I'm sorry?
I think called bullshit boards.
Thank you very much for that. So he was supposed to do 30 minutes of press, and 90 minutes later, we finally managed to get him away from. I mean, you do forget what a superstar he is, and the media absolutely love him. And it was a lot of fun. And then we had a gorgeous screening in the way that only Italians can do it. There was when Luca got up to give a little speech, a little address, he was actually heckled and people clapped. And it was like probably being in a 16th century opera house. When I say heckled in a really nice way, because I think he basically rigged the audience. Half of them were either friends or family or people who really love him. But it was a wonderful screening. It's the first public screening I've been to with that film, and I was nervous as hell, as you can imagine. And my big fear in Italy is that, this film is anything but tabloid. I mean, it's really not a tabloid movie. It's not kind of what I do. And I was a little worried that maybe Italians, that's what they would like. But on Saturday, we got the reviews and they were really wonderful. Mr. Aris, brings out an emotional side to Luca Montezemolo. A lot of the 3 reviews actually said that, and it was just very, very emotional. And I don't just mean for me. I mean for him and for the audience, and certainly for the press, because I guess what we forget to some extent is he is about as close to royalty. He is that kind of character in that country. So if you imagine Prince Charles talking about, I don't know, going to Cheltenham with his mum and saying, I turned around and mum was crying, or she had tears in her eyes, because they're the kind of things he said about Enzo Ferrari or Gianni Agnelli, very small personal things that a man who is effectively inaccessible, who is a bit of an island, even though, people think they know who he is, really opening up. And I think the other thing that was really gratifying was everyone described the film as being as elegant as he was. And that was something we tried very hard to do, the context of it. So that was amazing. I got a little bit pissed afterwards, I have to confess. We managed to find a restaurant that was open until just after midnight, so I could get a bowl of pasta, otherwise it would have been in a bad way on Friday. But it was absolutely stunning. And of course, we've got the premiere next week on Thursday. So we've got the big world premiere on Thursday. And here in London, I'm reasonably nervous about that too, to be honest.
And Bury St Edmunds as well?
So Bury St Edmunds, since the last pod, has almost sold out.
Wow!
So the power of the pod works. There are other cinemas. The Everyman have expanded to 6:30 cinemas that night, and you will be able to watch the Q&A live, and you'll all get this lovely Ferrari poster featuring Luca Montezemolo and Chris Aris. So check the link out. Check the link out. Come along. It's going to be a real laugh.
This is a world record for us, boys. We're not even through the second topic yet, and we're 38 minutes in. This is remarkable. So,
what did you do in cars, Chris?
Quite a lot. I hung out with you a bit. I went. This wasn't a car, but I went on a quad radial engine seaplane. Never thought I'd do that. I think the radial engine might be the single coolest invention ever.
Yeah.
I've never. And I heard this thing. It had a door open at the back, so you could hear the open exhaust on the back of the radial engine going along at 180 knots. That radial engines are amazing. I want to own one so I could just watch it work. I went to Neil's 599. He drove beautifully. Tell you what, quite punchy coming out the toll booth. Neil loves a full bore toll booth exit. He primes
Neil.
He primes himself,
isn't it? That's the point. Isn't that the point of them?
And he likes that big sweep. He likes to sweep to the outside lane, just with it fully lit in third. It was great.
Yeah.
So lots of giggles at the Tuta Bene hill climb. A lovely bunch of people. I drove my friend Eugenio's gorgeous 308 Safari rally car, and the gearbox broke. And I probably contributed towards that, so I'm sorry about that. It's quite odd for me to do that. I hope I didn't, but I always put my hands up if I did. Saw lots of old friends and some new faces as well, and I just thought it was a gorgeous event. I left Italy again thinking I'm really in love with Italy at the moment. Every time I go there, there's a warmth and a security in who they are and what they love that we don't have in this country. They're more centered, and I'm jealous. I'm not often jealous of other countries, but I leave Italy a bit jealous now. I was much more francophile in my 20s and 30s, but well done, Italy. You are smashing it at the moment. I then came back here and didn't get much sleep, and I went up to Anglesey and we recorded a film on the new 12 cylindry, but not a sort of homemade thing I did before. I really spanked one around a track and got underneath of the dynamics, and you'll see the film. What a bloody machine that is. And I also, that refers back to our first point. If you don't want the super fancy mid-engine hybrid MF with 1,000 horsepower, you can buy a 840 horsepower front engine GT car with a big boot and everything else. They're offering you several different possibilities in the Ferrari range. They really are. I have to say, 12 cylinder is magnificent. I really love it. And the more I spend time around it, the more I think it's Mazzoni's, it's his best piece of work really after the LaFerrari. At the front of it is just excellent. I love the Daytona hints. And it could have just been a coupe, but the bread van bit is so brave. And if you see it in traffic, I caught myself, and this is another topic of conversation. Are you allowed to look left in the reflections of windows when you're in a car? Are you allowed to look left? All right.
Always.
I looked left, and I saw this thing, and I went, "Wow, this is spectacular." And a Ferrari should be spectacular. So I did that. I then went and I drove. Maybe that links up with later on. I went and saw the lovely Anthony and drove his 205 XS, and then I left the key to the 12 cylinder on the roof and drove off with it on the roof. I've spent a long time at Campton Services speaking to Anthony on the phone, who found it in the road 2 miles from his house, and it had been run over by a truck. So, but it still worked, and I got home again. So I've had a busy week. Oh, and then yesterday I went to Zurich and saw the most extraordinary collection of modern supercars I've seen, really. Absolutely everything. But there was a blue, what was it? I can't remember the name of the blue, F12. I put it up on Instagram yesterday. Oh, my Lord. Everything's about the F12 for me at the moment. Everything. The whole world is about the F12. I just love them. There's been other stuff. It'll come to me. But it's been a really busy, fulfilling week. Busy weeks beat boring weeks. Always. Busy is best.
Yeah.
Now, this should be quick. What country has the coolest looking number plates? I'm going to go to Chris Cooper first.
Germany.
Ooh.
Good shout.
Can I add anything
Why?
else to that? I don't think so.
No, brilliant. Okay, Neil Clifford.
Swiss.
Yeah.
I think any
Swiss.
car just looks more elevated with a Swiss number plate. I lived and worked in Switzerland for a couple of years, and I had a brand new black 110 Defender, 2004, and I drove it all the way back, which was total balls ache, as you can imagine, just to show off their number plates. And then my wife turned it over on the M5 and rode it off. And we were going upside down at 70 miles an hour, and it was 3 inches narrower by the time we came to it. But that's another story. But it's just any car looks better with a Swiss number plate.
You say that. I ought to expand on my one-word answer. The reason why I think it is Germany is because all of those times, and it's when we read car magazines, when car magazines were the way we interacted with cars we couldn't otherwise see, let alone afford. Whether it was a new Porsche or a BMW, mainly BMW, because we kind of felt closer to be able to associate with them. When you saw those cars, I remember when the E60 M5 first appeared and was tested by Dickie Meaden in Evo magazine in 2004. And there's that one. There is that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that whiff of complete authenticity. It's just come out of the factory. They've just done their magic. It's on German plates.
Yeah, it is very clean. It's very Bauhaus. There's nothing frivolous about a German number
and
plate.
sort of.
But also, the number plate is an accurate reflection of the rigour of the nation. And
that's sort of what I'm saying.
Yeah, the German number plate has got these stamps on it, and it's thin metal, and it just feels like a document. Whereas the British number plate is a piece of fucking plastic that, any old bloke can knock up.
Isn't it just you want stuff you haven't got? I'm sure there's an Italian version of our podcast when they're like, oh, the British number plates. I saw P3 NIS in Mount Street.
I think, Neil, you're bang on. As ever, the answer lies somewhere in between. So I think we always crave the other, and the other always looks exotic.
Yeah. See, I think that is the best number plate. When I was in Brazil.
I can't see it.
Brazil.
Yeah.
I love the way they do that. So instead of putting the flag on the left-hand side, followed by a bunch of letters, you've got this effectively the top quarter of the number plate, the big horizontal one, is blue with the word Brasil, and the Brazilian flag in the corner with all the numbers underneath. I think it's so aesthetically pleasing.
It's all about bra there, though, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest about it.
Bra.
I
Yeah,
think all of these are valid. I have to say, I'm a sucker for a little Monaco plate, but on
Oh,
on a less than obvious car. Like we used to see a little 205, a beaten up 205 from a real Monegasque resident with a Monaco plate. It's like that's pretty damn cool.
Monaco
For me,
is the one, really.
but for me, I remember being last time I was over there. I won't say the country. Well, I will now. Last time I was over in Tokyo, we had a lovely little car meet, and someone rocked up in a white Integrale with just Tokyo plates on it. Just Sub-Zero, absolutely Sub-Zero. They probably said he's got a tiny Todger in Japanese on them, but just to me, it just looks so. They look so exotic. Maybe it is the other. Maybe it's this foreign thing. And maybe they're sitting in California going, oh, that Jaguar looks so much better on British plates. But I think a Jaguar looks best on Italian plates. I think a Jaguar with Italian plates is perfect.
Yeah.
I've just checked with ChatGPT through all of the Italian automotive podcasts and whether any of them talked about UK number plates, and I'm still waiting.
Yeah, but there will be one. There'll be an Italian equivalent of us.
I tell you what I do like. I think talking about sort of UK-ish, and this is quite. If you're not in the UK, you probably don't really get this. There are parts of the UK which are sort of not Jersey and Guernsey, the offshore territories. I quite like a Jersey number plate.
J, yeah, the
It's
J
got
is good.
The J bit, and it's got little
GBJ.
flags and symbols on it, and it sort of feels like there's a bit more to it. So Jersey or Guernsey or Isle of Man, I think those are quite.
That Valkyrie bombing around with that Jersey number plate.
Yeah.
That's
So do I
pretty.
not just say sort of Jersey, Guernsey, Monaco? I just don't pay tax number plate, because that's basically what it's saying, isn't it?
Well,
No, I don't.
yeah, I don't read that. So I'm waiting for the Isle of Wight to have their own number plate.
Yes.
I think we should start a campaign for the Isle of Wight to have their own number plate.
Yeah, Shanklin.
Yeah,
Manish, you need to
Bentley.
get out there and campaign on these issues in your 456.
yeah.
So
I pay my tax.
I think we will now. Oh, Manish, what did you think was the best number plate?
It's
Brazil.
Sorry,
Brazilian
Brazil.
number plate.
Sorry.
Lingerie.
yeah.
Okay, the JLR Cyber attack. This is now where we all don our beards and become very serious about the issue of this cyber attack on JLR. I'm going to go over to my learned correspondent for British automotive industrial issues, Chris Cooper.
Well, it's a bit of a bugger, isn't it? So actually very little has been said fully and publicly about it. Something happened on or about 1st of September. It's not obvious whether it's a ransomware attack or it's just a DDoS attack, denial of service type attack, or just plain arson. A bunch of people said, wouldn't it be great to see that thing up in flames? That's my only we don't know. A number of suggestions about who was involved, which groups, and relation to the M&S attack. Any suggestion that it's clear when this will be fixed, I suspect is slightly optimistic or guesswork, because it's really, really messy to fix this stuff. It's a real problem. There's the clients of my firm are very large corporates, and almost on a daily basis now, we get their security alerts on the latest cyber things going wrong, blah, blah, blah. And, there's an awful lot. If you're in that space of thinking about protecting your business or other people's businesses, there's a lot going on. But it has there's a real impact. The factories are shut. There are cars on the production line where they can't restart it because all the data that said, hang on, you've been through the paint shop, which wheels go on this, all of that is gone. So you have to, at some point, probably people have to go back to the dealers that submitted the orders and go to the customers to say, can you get them to confirm what was on their car? The biggest impact...
Was it pink?
Was it pink? Suddenly there were no pink cars.
1,000 cars a day.
Yeah, the biggest impact, or as big an impact, apart from the poor folks who've been sent off and laid off because there's nothing that they can do, is the suppliers. I spoke to a couple of quite large concerns who are contractors and suppliers to parts of JLR, and they're talking to their banks about, actually, we're going to need some help. So there could be almost a COVID style
I think the government will step in.
bailout, whether it's a C-bills type thing or subsidies or cheap loans or whatever it is, because otherwise the whole shooting match of that supply chain, vertically, horizontally, is at risk. They could be out for a couple of 2-3 months, whatever it is. So if you go to, as I occasionally do, go to global conferences or stuff about where CEOs around the world are talking about what they think about, what they worry about. Most of them would say, I'm thinking a lot about how do I think about AI and capture it and make good choices rather than spending all the money on everything. The thing that keeps them awake at night is cyber. It's the number one thing keeping CEOs awake at night is cyber, because it is really, really messy to fix. As we saw with M&S, who've just now gone back to online ordering on for their stores. So we have a lot. We wish very, very well to all of the workers at JLR, their suppliers, their subsidiaries, all those kind of things. And we don't need to call on it because the government, I think, is on top of this. But yeah, this will need state support because we can't afford to lose this industry and supply chain. It's quite.
What is it about life? The serendipity of life that means that just when you are down and out and struggling, someone comes along and kicks you right in the knackers. It's a bit rotten. It just feels it's what my late Auntie Janet would call rotten luck.
Unfair.
Yeah, seems terribly unfair. So I think I echo what Chris Cooper said. I just hope it can be resolved and that there is some support and that we can continue making cars in the Midlands. Neil Clifford, what do you think?
Nothing more to add, really. With our thoughts are with the whole business.
And Manish?
Well, I just thought this is the end of an awful trilogy. If you remember, British Airways had a massive cyber attack where they just basically stole data. Then we've had Marks and Spencer's, which has been absolutely mullered by this, and now Jaguar. And you do wonder. I think it's Chris was saying, you do wonder whether this whole hyper-connected universe, this whole idea that some bloke in wherever it is can sit down. I mean, I would bet big money it's ransomware, because I think these things are so sophisticated. People don't do it just to knacker something, unless who are Jaguar's biggest, kind of automotive competitors. It's the only person I could imagine who would do it just for the Valhalla of it. And in fact, Andy Palmer was on this morning on Radio 4, and I didn't quite appreciate one point he made. It was quite a subtle but good point, which is that a lot of Jaguar's suppliers only supply to Jaguar. They don't have the volume to go and supply to other people. So if they go down the toilet, Jaguar go down the toilet, because the whole point is you can't sort of fix a wheel with 92% of the parts that it needs. You need to fix a wheel with 100% of the parts that it needs. And if those last 8, that last 8% comes from one bespoke supplier who's small, who's vulnerable, Jaguar are vulnerable. And you just realize how we are so much the sum of small bespoke parts. And, I'm very, very glad I'm not a big CEO right now or a management consultant in the motoring business, Mr. Cooper, because this stuff is scary. It's very scary. A bunch of, teenagers, grown-ups, whatever, with some code can basically just chop a company off below the knees.
Or as simply as, I think the one of them recently, without naming it, the breach was somebody approached a call center or a security center and said, impersonating an employee of a supplier, say, I've lost my login, blah, blah, blah. Or there's the cases where somebody's approaching a car park or in the public place and said, okay, here's 20 grand. Give me your password, your login details. In some respects, it's the oldest weaknesses, which are still the weaknesses. So yeah, if you're in that industry in that business of trying to keep people secure, wow, that is bloody messy and complicated now.
Okay, let's add some levity to this otherwise difficult conversation by opening to the floor the chance for other people to share with us their keyless cock-up stories. So I'll start with expanding on what happened to me. So you might have seen on Instagram. I decided to take a photograph of the 12-cylinder with two lovely Peugeots behind it. Peugeot royalty, I hasten to add. A red Phase 1 106 Rally and a 205 XS facelift car, G-plate, 1989, I think it is. And I decided to move the Ferrari forwards a bit. And as I did this, I got out of the car, and then after I did that, I got out of the car and moved around. And the car went absolutely mental at me because I had the key in my pocket. It was beeping and whooping, and there were houses around. I didn't like it, so I thought, okay, I'm going to leave the engine running. I'm going to put the car on the roof. I mean, why would anyone do that? But I'm not a normal person. I don't have a lot of the skills that you all have. So I put the car on the roof, and then I just chatted to the owner of the car a bit more, luxuriated in the beauty of both cars. They really are stunning. They're just gorgeous things. And then I drove off, and I got to Oakhampton Services, and I luckily parked the car quite close to a curb and out the way a bit. And then I sort of walked inside and thought, I'm on the Manjaro still, so your body's going, you probably ought to eat a pasty, but what you end up buying is a bottle of water and feeling a bit empty inside, as you do on this stuff. So I probably was very happy I'd not bought a pasty, went back outside, sat in the car and went, start. It shows you I don't lock the bloody thing. I just walked away from it. I went, start, and it said there's no key in the car. And then I thought, well, that's not possible, because normally if the key's not in the car, it beeps at you ferociously to say the key's not in the car. But there's a way around it, clearly, which is if you've got those glass roofs and the key's on the roof, the key thinks it's in the car with you.
Yes.
So I did beat the system in some respects. Anyhow, after a few conversations, and I was sitting in the car trying to style it out. I'm sitting there, and there's lots of people coming up to the car thinking, what? They're thinking, why is he not gone? Why does he want the attention? The answer is I don't want the attention, but I don't want to get out and have the conversation about the fact that I've lost the key. So I'm just going to sit in the car. I don't want to walk around outside the car also thinking I look really cool. No. So I'm just there thinking this is an absolute... I can't phone any of my learned friends on the podcast necessarily because they always laugh at me. I did put a note on the group, and there was some concerns. What can we do to help? But most of them be thinking, well, God, he's just useless. And I am. Anyhow, we found the key, and I was very lucky to get it back. But it's not my only keyless story, I can assure you. There are many. If you do what I do for a living, there are many keyless stories. So I did get it back. Anthony is absolute gent. Thank you so much.
How
Neil,
far away were you?
It was about 5 miles back down the road, the key.
Right, okay, 5 miles.
Yeah.
And at what point did you think, because you get that shiver when you go, fuck, it was on the roof. Did you get that feeling, or?
Yes, do you know what? It's a very good question, because I had, for reasons I won't explain, I had my son's crash helmet in the boot, and I wedged it in, and it moved a bit, and it hadn't clunked, and I was very pleased with the fact that it had not clunked in the boot and moved. But I remember, as I thought back, oh, there was a noise, and that was the key hitting the spoiler.
Of course.
You remembered the noise.
And I remember the noise, and then I had that awful moment of thinking, when was the noise? If I can locate the noise, then I can find it on the road. But my brain, I didn't have the data in my head. I was like, it made a noise, but I couldn't tell you where the noise was. If I'd been 10 years younger and less adult, I would have known it. But yeah, but when I realised I was done, I wanted to be somewhere to watch one of my children play sport, and I realised I'd let him down. And then you have that moment of, this is not fair. I don't like this. And then you have a moment of technology, and you become a right old bastard. But the reality is, I fucked it up. You know, that was me. I do believe that in the chaos of life, I was destined to do something wrong that day. And if I hadn't put the key on the roof, I'd have snapped an old-fashioned key in a key barrel. I would have filled it up with diesel, or I'd have trapped my willy in a zip and had to go to A&E. I'd have done something ridiculous. Can you
help us all understand a little bit about the coefficient of friction of a Ferrari key placed on top of a glass roof of a 12-cylinder? How far away from the original D did it eventually let go and land in the road? How far do you reckon it went?
Very, very good question. We're dealing with two high mu objects because
very high mu.
Because I came out of this guy's lane in Devon, and I turned left to go towards the A30, and I gave it what professionals would call the potatoes as I left. Because the good thing about the 12-cylinder is it's not very loud. A lot of people complain that it's too quiet, but you can come out from the edge of a village and go, you don't piss anyone off. So I gave it the lot, and it was still, I know it was on the roof quite a long way down the road. So I'd say it stayed on the roof doing a full 0 to 60 in well under 4 seconds. And I'm not going to tell you the speed that I definitely reached after that, but let's just say that key knew what it was doing.
The mutastic key.
There you go. Also, I want to clear one other thing up. Now I'm getting the opportunity. I posted a photograph of the 106 Rally, the red one, and the XS, and a few people went, how can you say that when you wrecked one on Top Gear? Let me be absolutely clear. I wasn't driving that 106 Rally, and I used to hate it when the show would wreck cars like that. It was probably the closest I came to walking away from it all, as I love those cars. And if anyone questions whether I do, they can fuck right off. I love those cars. They're really, really important to me. And you can accuse me of anything. You can accuse me of being useless, but don't ever say that I don't really love and appreciate those cars. They were the ickiest part of my working life, was that sort of wanton damage to those cars. I hated it. Absolutely hated it. Right, let's move on. So who else is... Chris, I doubt you've got a keyless go story because you're bloody organised.
Well, I don't have a keyless go story, but I have a very, very similar story. In fact, it's the same story with a different artifact. The artifact being my wallet.
Oh, on the roof.
That's
No,
an
on
object
the
I could
roof.
say... That's an object I could say I've benefited from. So this is an important story.
So I've done the identical thing on a number of occasions, which is as follows. I go to a petrol station. I don't like, because I'm dyspraxic, and I only discovered this quite late in life. I've never liked objects, keys or whatever in my pocket. I don't like it. I don't like the metal or whatever it is. So I tend to walk around holding my wallet rather than putting it in my pocket. I just don't like it in my pocket, or car keys. So I tend to, when I'm at a petrol station, put my wallet and keys, if there were a key, on the roof of the car.
What?
Fill up the petrol, pick up the wallet, go inside. There are 3 occasions in identical circumstances where I've filled the car, put my wallet on the roof, and then got back in the car and driven away, and sometime later discovered I must have left my wallet on the roof.
Without paying for the petrol.
Not because you might say you've been a bilking, or whatever the expression is, driving off that pay. No. After the 3rd time I did this.
So hold on, can I stop you 1 second? So this must mean that you've put the wallet back on the roof after you've paid for the fuel.
No, I need to fully explain what this is.
Okay.
After the 3rd time it's happened, I realized there were some common circumstances which I neglected to fully understand. And the common circumstances were, on each of these occasions, I was traveling with my wife, Lynn. And on each of these occasions, bless her, she very, very kindly, as I was just finishing the fill-up, said, I'll pop in and pay for the petrol. And would you like anything from the shop? Would you like some wine gums?
Distraction. I
Bar
love
of
it.
chocolate or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Or a pepperoni.
And I would say, oh no, because I've got such an appalling short memory attention span. On each occasion, I completely forgot I'd left my wallet on the roof.
Yes.
So we got back into the car and she'd share out the wine gums or Red Bull, whatever I got. And sometime later, we discovered that I'd left the wallet on the roof. On the first 2 occasions, amazing, because I had actually on one of the occasions, I had my passport in my wallet as well as but the only thing that actually had a useful telephone number was my Motorsport UK license. So this is an oblique way of actually a thank you and an apology. The thank you is to Motorsport UK, Motorsport Association as was, because the membership team led by Michael now and his colleagues are wonderful. And on the first 2 occasions, the very generous and kind people who had found my wallet went through it and said, there's a telephone number here. And they phoned the membership number at Motorsport UK, who then called me to say, here's the person, here's where your wallet is, blah, blah, blah. Amazing. On the 3rd occasion, I think it was been at the Roland service station on the M27. westbound, just north of Southampton, and I have a
That's
feeling
that's a niche service station.
it is a niche service station. I have a feeling it fell off and fell into the carriageway, and I actually did go back and try trundling down the hard shoulder at 10 miles an hour, which was massively dangerous. Don't do this at home, kids. But here's the thing: the real reason I'm telling this story, because on the third occasion doing it, I sort of said to Lynn, "Well, this is your fault. You paid for the petrol," and I didn't mean it. I'm showing this as two confessions I'm showing this evening because I felt mortified that I'd allowed my own frustration with myself to say poor old Lynn was the reason for this, because she'd kindly gone and paid for the petrol, got her sweeties and snacks and other comestibles. And because I'm useless and pathetic and I can't organize myself, on each occasion I'd left my wallet on the roof. So it's the same thing as leaving your keyless go on the roof. But in my case, I think it's even more pathetic because I've done it 3 times in a row. And I allowed myself to think words of my lovely wife, Lynn, who doesn't deserve it. And I love her very much. And I hope she's forgiven me now. And if she hasn't, I'm just going to say I'm sorry again. But that is how useless men can be. And certainly me, with my dyspraxia and incredibly non-existent attention span. So now we have a little code. If we're in the car together and before we even stop, we say, who's paying for the petrol? And if she's paying for petrol, I don't get out with my wallet. I leave it in the car. That's how useless I am.
That's a parable for modern life, everyone. A parable for modern life. Manish, you've owned 2 cars, both of which I know have keys. This could be a tough one for you, my friend.
No, I really can't. I just want to say, though, there's no way Mr. Cooper has dyspraxia, because that's developmental coordination disorder, and you do
I have
not.
dreadfully. I can't catch a ball. I don't know my left and my right.
But you're not supposed to be able to drive then, because you're an unbelievable driver. I've been in the car with you.
If you saw some of my shunts, you would also say that is a proof point.
You didn't tell me about that before you drove me at 2 million miles an hour in that GT3.
Oh, don't
You
get us wrong.
survived.
When he's on it, he's on it. Don't worry about that.
My days.
Neil Clifford, you've owned enough of these bloody modern cars with these newfangled things, and also the less exposure you have to them, or the per vehicle, the more problematic they are. If it's your everyday car, you've only got one car, it's all right. But you've got more than one car, so that's when it becomes difficult.
You don't need a wallet anymore.
Yeah, I know that one.
Just saying. I had a Jaguar delivered by the lovely Neil Dickens at Hairpin, who is very meticulous with his car deliveries. Radio 4 is on the preset. The petrol is full. The car has been valeted, whatever the word is.
Cleaned.
A lovely leather binder is in the boot. All of the carpet, which I don't really like, it's got that stripy shit. We need to discuss the stripy carpet cleaner.
Yeah,
thing.
that's the thing. That is.
Well,
Yeah.
So he said, I've delivered the car. It's all ready for you. And I was very excited. So I got back. Fucking thing's locked. So then I look in the car and the key is on the seat. And I'm like, Neil, what's gone on? It's locked and the key's in there. Where's the fucking spare key? It's in the lovely leather binder folder in the boot. So then you're like, he doesn't know how it locked. Some car, I don't know whether this is a weird thing. Some cars do lock themselves, don't they? It does happen. I know it's a bit weird, but
They
it does
do.
happen.
They shouldn't do if the key's in it, but they do.
They shouldn't do. But basically, what happened was, we then couldn't figure out what we were going to do. Do we ring Jaguar? What do we do? Do we get the coat hanger out? And all of that shit. But then Neil Dickens saved the day by saying, I think there's an app. This car has got an app. And he rang the owner, who's actually lovely. I know him now. Rang the owner, who was organised enough to have the bloody app. Clearly, I've owned the car for a year now. I don't have the app. So if this happens to me, we're all fucked. He said, yes, I've got the app. I'll unlock it for you. Tell me when you're there. And at 7 p.m, went on his little Jaguar app. Ding! Opened the car. and now I got my key back. So that was quite a nice little story, really, wasn't it? And yeah, don't leave the keys in the car.
I've realised there's some mileage in this one. I won't do it now, but I'll also tell you the time that my mother drove her Renault Espace with my pet snake in the ventilation system from the Chew Valley to Keynsham. That's a good one.
That's never been said out loud before.
That's a really good one. Well, we can't do that now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, pet snake is as much of the conversation, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. So let's move on to our two-car garage because I've got some responsibilities this evening, and this is wonderful. But we're running over. We're too verbose. Let's move on. This two-car garage was once again defined by Manish Pandey. You have seen the cyber attacks on various British companies, BA, M&S, and now Jaguar. You've also heard about the trend in youngsters opting for driving tests and automatics. So you yearn for a simpler age. You're pumping your fist now. You yearn. Great verb to yearn. I'd like the word loins, not used enough. For a simpler age, when cars were mechanical and manual. Pick two cars, both analog. They can have a bit of tech in them, but you know what I mean. One for town, one for country. Manish, you can go first.
Oh, so this is still in the pre-bid stage, but there's a rather beautiful Triumph TR7
It's
which
nice.
is out there. I think the colour is gorgeous. What would you describe that colour as? It's sort of
Azure.
Yeah, it is kind of Triumph TR7 Azure. So it's got
At Zero Droitwich.
I was going to
Azure
say,
which is perfect. It's sort of
Canley Blue.
brown vinyl. It's an American import. If you have a look at that bumper at the front, it's an American import, but all the taxes are paid to the Netherlands. So apparently it's very easy to import. And I think you'd probably get that for the right side of, I don't know, £12,000, something like that.
Yeah,
I think
probably.
you'd probably get it. So I think that's rather beautiful. And then my idea of being in the country isn't necessarily the kind of whole Range Rover, Land Rover idea. I just quite like the idea of being maybe a country vicar, a vicar in the countryside. I found this absolutely stunning Mini Clubman. It's brown on brown. Can you see that?
1275 GT.
It's one.
Is it a Traveller?
It's actually in Italy. It's in Italy. It's in Italy. You can import it. It's a 1 litre engine. It's got the same thing, about 50,000 miles on it. I think that's a gorgeous country car. A brown.
Is that a Traveller or is that a normal Mini?
I don't.
No, it's not a Traveller. It's a Clubman Estate.
I think it's a Clubman
Estate.
Estate. Yeah. If you look at the back,
Yeah.
Clubman Estate.
That's cool.
Proper Terry June, that is, isn't it?
It is
Oh, look
totally
at that.
Terry and June. And look at that lovely pair of yellow stripes down the side to make it look like it goes fast. I love it. They're my two.
Chris Cooper. We've got a £25,000 budget, by the way. Sorry, there was a budget here, but it was suffixed onto the thing. I'm sorry.
So town car, nothing says effective town car better than a Messerschmitt.
Yeah. Yeah, there is that. He's
The
holding up
Messerschmitt, that Messerschmitt, not the 109 or the 110. I always slightly preferred the 110, actually. I think you could do more with that than the
Or
109.
262.
Somebody, we need
Still
to talk about
prices,
Oshkosh.
262.
Somebody has rebuilt a 262
They have.
that was at Oshkosh this year. It's not, they've rebuilt one basically.
I've
It's
seen
pretty
it.
cool. So, so the Messerschmitt KR175, I think would be a great town car. And then the other one, and I think that goes, so this is Wednesday evening. So this will go on site probably about the 20th of September. The other one for my countryside car, this was really, really lovely. So this will be finishing on its auction probably Sunday, the 21st, something like that, maybe into next week, actually early next week. It's a stunning, we'll put pictures up.
All good.
It's a 325 manual cabriolet, 74,000 miles, Cinnabar red, I assume that is.
Yeah.
And it's just, honestly, I might have a go at that myself.
15 grand.
Is it cloth, Chris, or is it leather?
It is. Hang on a second. So many lovely photographs. I'm trying to get to the interior. It's got the Recaros with cloth.
Oh God, that's
good.
the holy grail.
That is that. It's got the Recaros with those bolsters at the front. You can lift out.
Manual.
Yeah.
Definitely manual. Yeah.
Chrome trim.
What age? What age?
It's a 1987. So
Pretty
somewhere in
facelift.
the-
On a D.
It is awful.
Pre-facelift.
I've got to scroll through a
Pre.
million.
Yeah, it's
They're
pre-facelift.
always
No.
15 grand.
It would be a D or an E, wouldn't it?
D.
Chicken dinner. That's that.
Yeah.
Neil
So I thought
Clifford
that
was
was the
punchy
winner.
about this. Neil Clifford was punchy about this. He thought he'd won this, but I think Chris Cooper's close there. Where are we going, Neil?
I have won this. Right, 15 grand. I've actually chosen cars that aren't going to fucking break down. Can I just start from there? As opposed to your cool shit boxes that are going to break down. So I'm going Puma, Ford Puma Sport.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
That's such a cute little car. It's collector's grade, may I just say. Only 11 former owners. It's had a full underbody mechanical body restoration between January and May 24 by none other than Chris Allison, the Puma specialist.
Mr. Puma.
To scratch the surface, this included but not limited to fuel tank, rear axle, Alcon brake upgrade, all refurbished, brake liners, wheel bearings, fuel pump, engine cam and belts, chain, everything's fucking been done on this. Air conditioning blows cold. It's just absolutely perfect, minty, smoke-free, pet-free, HPI clear, 2 keys, not on the roof. 11, no, what is it? I can't remember how much it was. 15 grand. And actually, it's a really pretty little car, that Puma.
I think I agree with that. Nice drive as well.
Yeah. And then for my country car, it's on Car and Classics, but it's with the lovely guys at Heel and Toe. A 2005 Porsche Cayenne 3.2 V6 manual.
Unusual.
Fucking
How much?
7 grand.
No.
Manual
There it is.
Cayenne.
There it is.
Those cars were built like absolute tanks because Porsche was so paranoid of this elasticity of brand strategy that if they fucked it up, Porsche was going down the pan. So that car will you'll be buried in that.
Yeah.
And that's
sounds like the bloke who had the Puma was nearly buried in that.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's hard to beat. That's a great little 2-car garage.
That's a 2-car garage.
That's
Manish,
good.
where are you going?
That's good effort.
Manish, where are you going?
I've done mine.
Shit. Oh, you've done it. Right, okay. Just me. So, I've misread this. I've misread this, but I've misread this in what I call a Cooper style, which means I've deliberately misread this. I've not accidentally misread this. Yeah. I've chosen to misread this. So I've decided to be the child that I am. You've given me £25,000. I'm going to spunk most of it on one car. It's been a week of Peugeots. This is a black, very, very low miles, phase 1 with white wheels, 106 Rally. Now, I'm driving that in city and in town. If I owned that, I'd be in it the whole time.
Yeah.
Look, if you can't see this, it's a black 106 Rally phase 1, and it's done not many miles, 36,000 miles.
Ooh.
It's just good.
Wow.
It's everything I wanted. Everything I wanted in a car. Now, the misreading bit was that I thought you said my second vehicle, which I would have in town, could be a motorcycle, because I know that you'd allow me that. Now,
Of course.
again, on Car and Classic, there is, look at this, a twin shock KTM from 1982. I'd put a number plate on that. I just think that's one of the coolest looking little motorcycles.
It is, isn't it?
Twin shock KTM with an orange frame. Just gorgeous. I'd use that in town. I'd rin tin my way around town.
Yeah, I think we probably should include motorbikes.
I think you can do now and again.
Yeah.
And I want to add that this week has been an especially poor week for me on the Car and Classic website. I have spent, I reckon, 30 hours on there looking at tat. I really am. I'm in the grip of an addiction for the site. It's get the app, get on there. There's so much shrapnel on there that we all want to own. I can't tell you enough. It's just ridiculous. It's a wormhole. Absolute wormhole.
Yeah.
If you just type in a word that you're interested in, you're there for hours. It's wonderful. What a resource. What a joyous place to waste time.
Yeah.
Let's do some music before we leave. I'm going to start off. How about this for one you've not heard for a while, which is one of the happiest tunes that I heard probably 20 years ago, which is Hey Y'all by Outkast. Just
Oh,
with the
it's
old
good. Outkast
shake it
is
like a
good.
Polaroid picture. It's a really happy, brilliant piece of music. Go and listen to it in the car. Make you smile. Manish.
Well, I'm going to go with a bit of Duran Duran. It's a little bit obscure, but you guys have inspired me. So I was listening to them quite a bit this week. And on the B side of the Union of the Snake single, which I remember buying, is a fantastic, slightly obscure tune called Secret October, with the October spelt with a K. October. It's a beautiful song. It's not a banger. It's a very melodic, I don't know what you almost folksy piece of Duran Duran. It's stunning. Have a listen.
We need
Like
Simon
it.
Le Bon on this podcast.
We do need Simon.
Yeah, we do. But we don't. Well, I don't want a union with his snake. Right, off you go, Neil.
I've been listening to the Beastie Boys actually, and check it out.
Check it out.
It's a good song. Yeah, it's a good.
Very, very good song. Chris Cooper.
This is my third confession of the evening.
God.
It's Michael Bublé.
Oh
No.
fucking
Yes,
hell.
Michael Bublé, Feeling Good. I defy you not to be tapping your steering wheel and knocking it back a gear and swooping around with Michael Bublé, Feeling Good on your stereo. I love it. I really like it. I'm really sorry. I really like it.
All I can hear is Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon doing their doing their Parkinson impressions, and now Michael Bublé.
Yeah.
He just on the
I know.
trip.
I know. I've turned this into Michael Parkinson. I'm really sorry, but I really like it.
Genius.
That was episode 54 of the Car Podcast. Chris Harris and his friends. It's quite late. They've got lives and they've got people to go and see. I've kept their time. I've monopolised them. They need to leave. Thank you very much. Bye bye.